Justin, can you introduce yourself?
Hey David, how you doing? I work in product marketing over at BlueJeans, and I'm so excited to get to talk to you today.
Thanks. Thanks for being here. And let's start maybe by talking about the event that we did together last week. I think that incorporated a lot of what I just talked about. It was a very different webinar. It felt more like a live stream. So why don't you let me know what your thoughts were inviting me to have that and how it went.
I think that a lot of the points that you made in your introduction were very true and very relatable, especially for last week's webinar. If in the past 6 months, businesses and organizations all over the world have had to become very comfortable with using video technology basically overnight, we sort of saw that as a testament to people's comfort levels and how more of the world is adopting webinar technology and video streaming technology to deliver these events online rather than in person. And throughout that event, David, you saw this. I mean, people were so visibly comfortable with using the interactivity features. And if anyone on this stream today actually watched that webinar last week, there had to have been hundreds of questions, hundreds of comments. David, and I'll give David credit, throughout the event was answering them on the fly as he was giving the presentation over the PowerPoint presentation. And I just thought the flow was interesting, and it said a lot too about people's interest in getting better at hosting webinars, but also the, I'd say, widespread use and adoption of them because, hey, we don't have a choice right now. We've got to do these things from home. What was your takeaway from that?
There was one moment during that webinar, and I advise people to go find the replay up on the Blue Jeans website and check it out, where something kind of magic happened that never really happened before. But it was because we were going with this live stream format as opposed to this, old-fashioned button up. And I am buttoned up today for you all, but this old-fashioned button up webinar. The chat just started rolling. What the Twitch lingo is, they say chat was lit. And I've never seen the chat get lit before in a business webinar, but we were encouraging them, and we're going to encourage people today to ask their questions in the chat. And I just started at one point just reading off the chat, just answering questions in the chat. And I realized I hadn't said the next, I hadn't been to my bullet points, my PowerPoint in like 5 or 10 minutes. I remember shooting you a look, and it's hard to tell if you're shooting someone a look over a video, but I was shooting you a look. Is this okay? And I saw you smiling and nodding. Keep going, keep going. So we just kept going with it, and it was the most interactive. It was a new kind of thing, and that's what I'm hoping this kind of becomes.
One of the bullet points too that we made in that presentation was to humanize your delivery. And so, one of the, I'd say, the reference points that you made about how webinars, let's say 10 years ago, were so very straightforward and buttoned up and formal to a fault, you could say, where people would be reading over a slide share presentation just with audio, almost no interaction or communication with the audience. But this was literally like a slide with a few interesting points and bullets about that slide, but then audience members would inevitably have some comments or either some horror story about their webinar experience or maybe a success story as well. And so listening to you, David, kind of engage them and bring them into the conversation, it made all of the difference. We can say at BlueJeans, we can say until we're blue in the face, hey, webinars can be interactive, but unless you actually put that to the test and bring your audience into the conversation, can you really, prove that you've created interactivity?
Yeah, the tools are there in BlueJeans. BlueJeans, I like how you guys have that feature that allows you to have webinar viewers get boosted up so they can be on video, so they can ask you questions face to face. The interactivity is there. We just weren't using it for a long time because we were scared and because there were certain conventions. There's a certain way you do a webinar. You read the bullet points. You don't lose your track. You stay professional. And now that we're free to, like you said, to be human, to be ourselves, we can give better presentations. It's not just a matter of interacting with the chat. It's a matter of just speaking in a human voice. You and I, we made a point of not rehearsing this. We could have, right? We meet on Blue Jeans, we chat. We could have just had an extra meeting today and said, hey, let's write out a little script. But we purposely didn't. I'm not sure where we're going to go, but it's okay because we're having fun. And I think that makes it more watchable. I think it makes it more relatable. And I think I go back to when on my iPhone's out of reach. I was going to hold up my iPhone. When Steve Jobs first showed us the iPhone, there were two huge things we learned that day. You know, we got a new device that's going to change the way we live, and we have a new way to give presentations. Because his presentation, he had a PowerPoint, and there were no bullets. There were words like freedom, right? There were, whatever. There were words like joy and pictures of phones, and he just talked over them. And we said, God, how long ago was that? 15 years, 20 years, 100 years? But we said, this is the way we're all going to give presentations now. And we continue to give them the old way because it's a lot easier with the bullet points. If you lose track of where you are, you just read the next bullet point. It's scary giving a presentation. It's scary to be yourself. It's easy just to be bullet point reading person. But we got to get over it. We really got to get over it because no one wants to watch that anymore.
No, they definitely don't. Your point, though, too, about how we didn't rehearse this, I think that there's a couple of things going on there, and if anyone else that is watching this can relate to this, if you think about pre-pandemic, when maybe you were not so used to using video conferencing, you would almost like wrap your day around the fact that like, okay, at 2:30 I have this meeting. I got to get ready for that meeting. Even if you didn't have to give a presentation, just the thought of being on video seemed daunting at the time. And then look at us. Unfortunately, I mean, for all the negative aspects, what has happened over the past 6 months, obviously, we're forced to use video conferencing. It's almost like because we've been so exposed in such a volume to this technology, combined with the fact that maybe part of it too is that you're inside your comfort zone. You're in your house. You're working out of your home office. Maybe more folks are just getting more used to this idea in general, and have kind of carved a safe place for themselves, so to speak, psychologically, and video is not so strange anymore.
Yeah, I always said two things are going to happen before we become really a video society. And one is the technology is going to have to be there, and the second is culturally we're going to have to be there. And the technology's been there for a few years. Honestly, even baby blue jeans, the first blue jeans call I made, that was the new generation of video calls. There was no setting up the protocols. There was no choosing which version of H323 I'm using. I clicked a link and I was in a meeting and it just worked. And that was the end of, the old joke in the video conferencing industry was, what time does a 3 o'clock video meeting start? 3:12, 3:15? It just started. It just became easy. So the technology has been there. But culturally, we weren't there yet. We were still, like you said, we were still stressing out over video meetings. It's weird. I have a meeting to go to a meeting room with people. I'm not nervous, but I meet with those same people over video. I'm sweating, stressing out. And we so got over that. Oh my God, TikTok, YouTube, Vine. Remember Vine? Everything, Periscope. It used to be that only the show-offs with the pretty hair wanted to be on camera, and now everyone's on camera. That's the way we communicate. That's the way we learn. If I decide I want to, I don't know, learn a new song on guitar, I go to YouTube and there's some 80-year-old grandma playing that song on guitar for me. And she's not a streamer, she's not a presenter. She's just someone who knows how to do something, who wants to share it. So culturally, we're over it, and we're over worried about looking bad because it's happened to all of us. I did a stream, God, was it yesterday or the day before? I was muted for a good 10 seconds. No idea. I'm going, and looking like an idiot. And hey, David, you're muted. Oh, okay. I unmute myself, made a joke about it, and went on. That would have been devastating 5 years ago. No, I really don't. I really don't care. It's okay. I almost am, I don't welcome looking foolish, but a little mistake, it humanizes you. It's really okay. And I think hopefully that will open things up for webinars like we did, where people are just natural and chatting.
Hmm.
Yeah, and
I
are you
agree.
seeing that? Are you seeing that your customers are, are the people, you guys have some really big organizations that use Blue Jeans. Are the people who are using them now, is it still just, in particular, talking about the your webinar presenter, uh, is it just the presenters? Or are they starting to are people getting over it? Is the subject matter expert presenting? Is the person who created the new file management system giving the webinar on the new file management system? Or are we still looking for our camera people?
No, it's designed to be BlueJeans Events is designed to be self-service. True, we do have a management arm at BlueJeans that helps with event assistance and things like that, but we like to hear from our customers about how easy it is to set up and use. right from the time that you get provisioned with the license to setting up your first event to practicing to hosting it. And in terms of the hosts and the actual players that are involved with these presentations, yes, sometimes there's the subject matter expert from that organization that's delivering content to the audience. But if there's anything that's true about work in the past 6 months is that we have all had to wear a bunch of hats. It doesn't matter what size organization you come from. This has been incredibly disruptive. So sometimes you get tapped and you have to be either the moderator and you have to actually handle all the logistics and have complete visibility and communication over the event, or you have to be the talking head, so to speak, and deliver the content to the audience. So I think that it's made us nimble for sure. We're pretty agile about this whole thing, and I think it's done the same for a lot of organizations too.
Yeah, actually, that's you brought up something I didn't think about. There's actually two parts of it. We have to be ready to be on video, and we have to be comfortable with the tools. 5 years ago, when we gave a webinar, we paid a company an obscene amount of money to handle it for us, and we would connect to their portal. We sometimes have to download their weird special software. We'd email them our PowerPoint the night before so they could upload it to their system, and they would drive it. And it was just you were hands off and just hope it all worked, and you just gave your presentation, and it almost sounds like it was easier that way, but believe me, it was way harder. It's way easier if you could just connect yourself and just push your own slides. And I love how you, and to give credit some of your competitors, you made your webinar platform almost identical to your meeting platform. So if I'm doing BlueJeans meetings all day and I have to give a BlueJeans event, I'm not scared when I log in. It doesn't look different. I'm like, oh, okay, there's my mute button, there's my camera. I'm just talking to more people and I can't see
Exactly.
them anyway, so there's nothing to be scared of. So I love the idea of just making it for everyone. I think unfortunately, we were forced into this, but it's a good thing. It allows us to connect more. It allows us to work from home. We were talking last time we chatted offline. We were talking about how working from home is completely changed because people are comfortable on being on video, and through this pandemic, we've kind of forced ourselves to prove it. Hey, let us work at home. We'll do a good job. And oh my God, you must have all sorts of stories from your customers about massive uses of video now that everyone's working at home. Anything you want to share along those lines?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, 5x seemed to be the average right around the beginning of the, forced work from home schedule. And, that obviously it fluctuates, but it goes higher than that. It goes up to 10x as compared to pre-pandemic. And so you're absolutely right. Yes, the surge in remote video usage has jumped big time for BlueJeans, and it's just done a lot of things for those traditional businesses that were very apprehensive about letting their people work from home. Maybe they didn't trust that their employees would actually get work done. Maybe they thought video technology software was still too much of a foreign concept, or it wasn't fully baked yet, or fill in the blank as to the reason why they didn't choose it. But then you actually do have productivity proof points that say that yeah, people actually are on the clock, they are getting their work done, and you can accomplish a quick note as well. This sort of reminds me of when you started off and you talked about how physical events are going online, and in the online events, we're still trying to replicate some of that interactivity that we have in person. This has been a pretty interesting proof point when it comes to BlueJeans meetings features throughout the pandemic. One of our product managers a couple of months ago said, hey, out of all of the BlueJeans meetings features that are really being used heavily in high volume is annotation. So annotation being the ability to write on top of your screen, or write rather on a whiteboard as well. That's interesting to me because that means folks at home are trying to replicate the in-office experience when they're in a conference room. They want to be able to whiteboard and marker board, and you can do that with BlueJeans. I just thought that was cool because it's like you're at home and you're in your home office, but you do still have some of those great aspects that you do in a office conference room.
Yeah, we're definitely. It's a mix. I want to recreate what we have at the office, but I also want to do it differently. I want to take advantage of the fact that we're on video. So we're learning new workflows. Sometimes with my team, we'll get on video and mute ourselves and just minimize the video and shrink the video and put it in the corner, just so that we'll feel connected during the day. We don't. They don't need to hear me talking and now I'm working on this, now I'm working on that. I don't need to be babysat while I'm working, but just finding new ways to use the technology, finding new ways to connect. Um, I think you know It's interesting. Some of us have been advocating for work from home for quite a long time. And we've been saying, yeah, there are going to be some downsides. You are going to feel a lack of connection, but we'll find ways to resolve it. You're going to worry about whether your employees are actually working or playing video games, but we'll figure it out. And it was like, we just couldn't convince the world. We couldn't convince the bosses, I think. I think workers got it. I think workers got to the point where they're saying, I got the same desktop at home that I have at work. I mean, I'm cloud connected. I log in and it's the same stuff. Working at home is no different than working at the office for half of my tasks. And why am I spending all this gas money commuting? Why not just work at home? We've been ready. And we've been saying, and we'll really work at home. We're not playing games. This is about productivity. It's not about wanting to not work. And the bosses were like, I need to see you working. I'm sorry, I'm paying you. I need to see you working. And now I'm talking to bosses, and the bosses are saying, in this pandemic, I let everyone work at home, and they were more productive, or as productive, or productive enough. It varies. But almost universally, they're saying, when this is over, if they want to work at home half the week, they can. I'm hearing very few complaints about work at home, which makes me think that we always say this time is different, but I mean, is it me? This time it's different.
Hmm. It is. Enough times gone by where we've adjusted to it, and when things do return to normal, there's going to be a hybrid setup for most companies out there. 2 days a week in the office, 3 days a week at home, or the reverse of that, or however it's staggered. But it's absolutely true. I think that the return to the office isn't going to be 100%, or at least for any company out there that didn't realize the value of video conferencing for productivity purposes and employee, the ethics of every employee getting their actual work done. I mean, I think it's turned some of that on its head, and it's great to see, especially in this industry.
Yeah, yeah, and it's great to see video just being a tool for everyone instead of just I mean, for a while it was kind of the premium high-end meeting rooms. It was a business tool, and now it's just for it's just how we work.
Hmm.
Um,
Absolutely. Yeah, couldn't agree more.
thank you so much. This was a great chat. Always great to work with you, and you'll be definitely hearing more from Blue Jeans out on the Let's Do Video channel. Thanks so much, Justin.